Hello, and welcome back to the Dungeons & Dragons Podcast UK. My name is Yasmin, and I will be the DM.
Hi, my name's Spencer. I play Cadeaux, a cleric from Gavany, who has a pet dog called Pickle.
Hi, my name is Samantha. I play Elora Greyvale, and she is a sorceress from the province of Nephalia.
Hello, I'm Colin, and I play Quin de Greymont, a paladin from Thraben in the province of Gavany.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I play Ogvar Shawfort, a goat-herding, mushroom-seeking ranger from Kessig.
Housekeeping. This week is a cause for much celebration for the crew as we hit a massively important milestone. 100 episodes. Yes, that's right, 100 episodes. What started out intended to be a 20-episode adventure has turned into a beast of a campaign, and boy, have we enjoyed taking our characters on this journey so far. So many emotional highs and lows, chaotic tragic dice rolls, and some awesomely timed heroic ones too. As the old saying goes, that's D&D folks. And it is with this in mind that we will be releasing an hour-long out-of-character special episode this week, alongside episode 100, where we will chat and reflect on those moments. The roles, the events, the NPCs, best, worst, favourite, funniest, anything and everything notable that springs to mind. We hope that you will join us for this, enjoy listening in and discover a little more about the crew members, gaining insight into what we have each found engaging from personal perspectives over the last 2 years. We would also like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you, our listeners, for being there each week, making this journey across Innistrad alongside us. You are amazing. Huge thanks to all the other creators that have tagged and supported us on their social media pages, and to those that have lent their personal time for a more hands-on approach, of which sadly there are too many to mention individually. You know who you are, and you are legends, all of you. So, without further ado, it's time for us to all rejoin Yasmin, our talented DM, Ogvar, Quin, Elora and Esther in The Secrets of the Silver City, episode number 100. It was with kisses, kindly courtesy and quite a bit of nose noise that the five became four once more as they bid adieu to their Abyssinian acquaintance. With Ogvar at the helm and seemingly in complete control of his charges, our heroes finally head out, leaving the city of Selhoff via the southern gate. The trail they travel is less than well trodden, and with Quin employing a sword as a strimmer to flail at some of the foliage, eventually the path wound its way to a short bridge spanning a stream. The paladin once more took precautionary measures, preferring to test its structural integrity before permitting the party to proceed across. As twilight turned to darkness, they parked up the wagon and made camp. The horses were unhitched and tethered, while the tents were pitched. Elora reminisced that she preferred the creature comforts of the cathedral, and although accepting, seemed a little rueful about her return to sleeping under the stars. Overwatch was organised, and Esther, Elora and Quin found their evening duties passed perfectly peacefully whilst Ogvar soundly slumbered. Episode 100, Native Neddies and Cranky Crows.
You all wake up in the morning. So you spend a little time getting yourself ready, setting up for the day, packing away tents, sorting out your provisions for the day, getting breakfast, Elora, is there anything you want to do in the morning?
Yeah, I think Elora would, she'd check on Rowan. It's been that busy for the last 24, 48 hours, what with the heist and then straight after going into a siege. She would check on Rowan because she's pretty much left him to his own devices. She'll take an apple from one of the sacks that's on the wagon, and she'll just bite up a piece of apple and offer Rowan some apple, I think she would. And just check that he's still there.
Okay, yep, Rowan is still there. He's snoozing. He comes awake after you poke him a bit. You feed him a bit of apple. Is there anything else you're doing this morning? In the morning?
Yeah, I think she would start her new regime of taking one of the vials of holy water out of her backpack and just sluice her eye out properly.
Okay. So, Ogvar, are you doing anything particular in the morning?
No, now he's out in the wilds and got a bit of time to himself. He'll just prepare his the very few spells he does have, but he'll just get himself ready for a day on the road, really.
Okay, Kewin.
I'm gonna turn to Owen and go, Ogvar, have you still got those gauntlets in that bag?
I believe so.
Does anyone mind if I use them? I might give an extra bit of a jaunt to, because I saw that lightning did quite well with those, with everything you hit.
Yeah, well, we can't all have a natural ability, can we, Kieran? Yeah, I mean, she holds up her hands and shows them to Kieran. I don't think they're going to fit me too well. What do you think? It's not quite my fashion thing, is it really?
We have to use a metal weapon. Anyway.
Well, I've got one of those, but, I'll hold up both hands this time and go, look, no, Kieran, they're not going to fit.
Okay, yes, okay.
Okay, I'm sure they're in here somewhere. Orland, you have these, the sparking gauntlets we acquired in the Exum Mansion.
Alright, got it.
Catch you, Kewin.
And he spits them out.
Oh, thank you there. Thanks, Orland. One less thing that you've got to carry, I suppose.
Okay, so you spend a little time in the morning prepping everything, getting everything ready. Esther is up and about and she's bouncing around. She perhaps looks a little morose, having left Cadeaux behind. You would assume Cadeaux and Florent and all of the Ruth and everyone at the church. But she's up and about. She's prepping things. She's getting things ready. You can see that she's put up she's actually set up the hooped cover on the carriage, because you didn't do that yesterday when you left. You just left with the open wagon. She set up the hooped cover on the carriage, so you've now got quite a nice little covered wagon. And yeah, you get on with the morning, and yeah, so I'm assuming you're going to hit the road.
Yeah.
Elora's going to pack up her bedroll and tent and kit, pack it all away again. She's going to wander over to the carriage, pop it on the back of the carriage so that she might as well not carry a backpack. She's just going to put it onto the back of the carriage, and she's just going to say to Esther, "Oh, Esther, that's amazing. You've put that up. You put that up on your own. That's handy, isn't it? Well, that'll keep the weather off."
Yes, and I suspect we might need it today. And looking up at the sky, you can see the sky is very grey. It's quite a dirty grey. You can see some darker grey clouds on the horizon, which look to be rolling in. Where you're walking now, you're obviously walking down, you're basically in the wilds. And you have got obviously the sea to your left and obviously inland to your right. And although the sea is, you can tell from your maps, there's some quite big steep cliffs, you are still getting, and although you are quite far inland in comparison, you are still getting a bit of a sea breeze whipping in over the cliffs. It's quite chilly, it's quite cold, it's quite damp. And it is squaring up that even though it's not raining now, you would probably say it would be raining later on.
Yeah, I reckon
Okay.
You're right, Esther. Another sort of standard day in Innistrad, really, isn't it? Are you all right,
Indeed.
Esther? I know that you've left your loved ones behind and you're out on the road. I mean, it's not too late to turn back if you don't want to be with us.
Yes, well, it was quite lovely to see Florent again, quite unexpected as well. I wasn't, expecting to see him again. It's all the more bittersweet, I suppose. Obviously the joy of seeing someone again and then having to leave them. But no, I'm a bit upset about Cadeaux, I would say. He was such a terribly lovely little man, wasn't he?
Well, he was full of character. I'm sure we'll see him again.
Yes,
He'll
sure
do a
we
good
will.
job. I can understand it.
Anyway,
I'm sure he'll do a good job. Ruth will look after him. She'll keep him in line.
Yes, I'm sure she will. And we've got quite a journey ahead of us, so no time for dilly-dallying.
No, let's get up on the wagon. So Elora's going to climb up on the back of the wagon.
Okay, so who is taking charge of the wagon?
I think we all.
Everyone looks at me.
We all look at Ogvar.
Guys, I'm just looking down the wagon here. I know I'm a bit comfortable. Do you want me to go and tack up these horses? I don't think it's going to go very far unless we do. I thought somebody had done it. I didn't even look. I was talking to Esther.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a hand. Fancy giving me a hand over to get the horses up?
Do you remember how to hitch them? I did make note when I unhitched them last night. Do you want me to help?
Okay.
Elora jumps back down off the wagon. She'll go round and she'll start prepping the horses, laughing to herself.
Okay, so you're all probably going to take a horse each. Right, we have a roan, a bay, a dun, and a skewbold. Who's taking which horse? This is relevant.
Is it?
It really doesn't matter to Ogvar because they're all horses.
Elora will take the coloured. She'll take the skewbold.
Okay, so roll me a handle animal check, Elora.
Really?
Right, Kieran and Ogvar, which one are you taking out of the remaining three?
What were the colours again?
Oh,
Bay.
So we've got a roan, a bay, and a dun
fair.
left over.
Can I
I'll
lie?
have the done.
You'll have the dun. Okay, roll me a handle animal check.
This is one I got down as sprightly.
Yes.
Oh
Yes, it
no,
is.
that's not particularly good, is it, Colin?
Right, Ogvar, which one are you taking? Roan or bay?
I'll take a roan, I suppose.
Okay, roll me a handle
Okay.
animal check then.
That would be a 20 all in.
Okay, Ogvar, you are very skillful in your approach here. You are able to, you walk up to the horse, you approach it, you stroke down its flank, and you begin to tack it up, and it stands fairly placid for you. It swishes its tail a bit, perhaps a gnat or two, but it's very, very placid. Next to you, Esther has the bay, and she's tacking it up quite efficiently. She fumbles a little with some of the straps, but you think it might be more down to kind of old joints with fiddly buckles in the early morning. Kieran, what did you get on your handle
Natural
animal?
one.
So did Elora. +5.
Oh,
+1.
we now have 2 horses.
Must be the holy water in the eye that's a bit blurred.
Sorry, he's moved his dice tray over there, so I can't use it because I was rolling pretty well in it.
It's because Spencer's not here and I'm not using
Right.
his dice tray.
Oh God. Okay, so Elora and Kewin. Kewin, as you approach the dun, this dun is a very sprightly creature. It stamps, it paws, it champs, it tosses its head in tight circles. This is a very feisty creature. As you approach it with your clattering, chanking armour, you manage to spook it. And as it spooks, it rears backwards and takes off. The skewbold, which has been tethered next to it, follows in hot pursuit. You now have 2 horses running loose.
Oh! Kieran! No! The horses! Oh, Ogvar! We need to do something. There's 2 horses. We need to go and find them. She's going to run to the back of the wagon, find some apples, quickly slice them up with her knife, and Elora is going to go off in pursuit of the direction that they left in.
And at that, Ogvar will say to Murdoch, maybe you could assist. You fly around and see which way they've gone.
Yeah, it's not a difficult spot. They haven't gone far. They have just bolted off, and yeah, Murdoch is more than able to kind of fly ahead and just keep an eye on what they're doing. But you can all see them. Right. So Elora, are you going to go and attempt to recover the
Elora is
horses?
going to walk up more slowly. She's going to take it steady and just try and make some calming sounds. She's just going to, come on then.
Right. Make me a handle animal with a +2.
Plus my 10, 5. Okay, it's 15 all in. It's a bit better.
Okay. Yeah, the 15. You wander up and you're very subtle in your approach. You approach it softly. The skewbald is eating out of the palm of your hand. You're able to get hold of it, and you've got it secured. The dun, you feed it a piece of apple, and you think you've got hold of it, but as you go to take a hold of it and grab it properly, it nips the last piece of apple from your hand, turns around and trots off.
Kieran, are you there? Ogvar, Esther.
I shall go and see if I can retrieve the horse.
Yeah, the dun's gone in that direction.
Okay.
It's a bit feisty. Here, have some apple. And she's going to throw some more bits of apple at Ogvar. Just dump him with a few bits of apple, and she's going to head back with the skewball back to the wagon.
You take the scuba back to the wagon. You're able to tie it back up, and you're able to get its tack on and get it sorted. Ogvar, you're going after the dun.
I'm going to plod off down the road towards it. Sort of half the apples for the horse, and maybe eating a bit myself.
Okay. So make me a handle animal with a +2 then.
23.
Ooh.
23.
Yes.
Okay, yep. You're able to coax the dun over to you. And actually, when you return to your little camp where you set up camp, you haven't got hold of the dun. It's trotting after you, flirting around, tossing its mane. It's quite content to follow you. Yeah. And you're able to lead it back, and you are able to you're able to tether it, get it tacked up, possibly with Esther and Elora's help. It's very, very feisty. And you get it tacked up and hitched up to the wagon.
As finish that, I'll just give it a pat. Oh, good Nettie, good Nettie.
Okay. So, you've got all your horses back now. And I take it you're going to set off.
Elora will hop back on the wagon.
Okay. So, you make off and start on the road. I'm not going to ask you to make a handle animal check, another one, because you were driving the carriage yesterday, and it's only in kind of a situation where you won't be possibly escaping something or running a carriage at high speeds that you're going to need to make a check in the future.
Okay. Can I not just drive it like a stolen?
Okay, so
You
can if
But
you
you've
want
got
to.
Esther and Elora
It's
behind, so don't be surprised if they put their hand through and give you a stick here.
Oh, the Innistrad answer to the boy racer.
Go faster stripes. You're going to have one of those visor strips that says Ogvar plus, I don't know, 1. Mushroom lady.
God, was it
What's her
going to
name?
be
Portia. Ogvar and Portia.
Fast and Fantasy?
Oh, God.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
No, I can't say that.
Okay,
What? I was scribbling.
so
What's he doing?
I don't know. It should be uncouth, I think.
It's, really? From him? Surely not. What is it?
Terrible. Terrible.
What's he written? He's written
My other ride's a
What was
Porsche.
my other ride's a Porsche. Very good, like that. Very good.
That was so
It's so good.
Snyder's Return is a tabletop roleplay interview and actual play podcast. We chat with content creators from both mainstream and indie publishers, and we release actual play episodes of systems like our City of Mist game, Meddlers, Monsters and Madmen, and more games coming in the future. We also have a TTRPG review show on YouTube, Fly Like a D6. Come and check us out. You can find us on Twitter at Return Snyder, Instagram Snyders_return. You can find us on YouTube at Snyder's Return, Discord, and everywhere you get your podcasts.
Okay, so you start travelling for the day. The road is it's single track. It's I say it's quite narrow. It's wide enough for you to comfortably get the wagon down, but you do get to some points where it's quite a deep track. It's quite deeply rutted. The sides are very steep, and actually, you get parts where brambles are brushing along the side of the cart. It is very kind of it's quite rough terrain. It's not a smooth ride. Esther and Elora in the back, at some points they will, kind of bounce around, and you might hit a large stone in the road, and it, just push the back end up, and Esther will go sliding across the benches in the back. But it's a fairly quiet ride, and about halfway, I'd say probably about 11 o'clock in the morning, you do begin to hear the patter of rain. So I'm assuming, Kewin, you're sat in the front on the coach seat with Ogvar? Yeah. There is a canopy that extends out over the coach seat, which Esther has set up. It doesn't have any sides, so when the wind does pick up, you will occasionally get a bit of driving rain from your left-hand side, from the coastal side, washing over you. But the rain patters down heavily onto the canvas, across the canvas hoops, and it's, all in all, it's actually a fairly, it's kind of morning that, although it's wet and rainy, it's quite a pleasant morning. There isn't much in the way of wind. There's the occasional kind of gust, but it's quite a pleasant morning. You can hear birds in the distance. It's very, very quiet. So you carry on this way throughout the day. Let's make a roll here. Okay. So everyone make me, with exception of Elora and Esther, so actually just Kewin and Ogvar, if you could make me both spot and listen checks, please.
Spot 14.
Spot 22.
Spot 14. Okay.
And listen. Oh dear. Oh! 19. So I only had +1 on that one. +5 on the other one.
22 again.
Okay, so Kewin, you are now passing what is a fairly open plain. To the left-hand side of you, you can see far into the distance. It's a flat plain of scrubby grass. This kind of beigey olive green grass. You can tell it's quite long. It's quite spiky. It's very much this kind of scrubland grass. You see it occasionally ripple in a very slight breeze, and this just expands out to your left. To your right, you have what looks to be a small-sized forest of sorts. It's filled with fir trees. They've got quite long, soft needles, and underneath the ground is loamy and clear of debris. You haven't got leaf litter. Sure, there are some branches and some twigs, but it's not the kind of leaf litter that you're used to in Kessig, Ogvar. both of you, as you're driving along, you have the horses in front of you, they're clopping merrily away, you hear the occasional tink of stone on shod hoof. You both hear it's quite a loud crashing sound. When I say crashing, it's not like, something's fallen over or, Kieran sat down and his arm is clanked. It is a sound of, you would say, definitely for sure, Ogvar, you would say it sounds like someone making their way through undergrowth, through brush, just crashing through the undergrowth. You have the kind of cracking sounds of trees and branches underfoot, the sound of kind of rustling leaves. It's because although these are fir trees, you can see there is quite a lot of like bramble, quite a lot of thorn, thistle, very woody, dense shrubbery. It sounds like someone crashing their way through.
So going through quick.
Ogvar.
Okay.
Yes, running. Ogvar, with a 22, you're able to tell that although this crashing is quite loud, you are pretty sure that this is, you would say humanoid, just from the kind of the striding and the pacing. It hasn't got that kind of loping sound that an animal would have. It sounds very much like a humanoid creature, bipedal creature. But you would also say whatever it is quite small. It's not like it's not the noise you would make if you were pelting through undergrowth. It is it sounds like quite a small creature, whatever it is. And very quickly, Ogvar, from the right hand side, on the path in front of you, tripping out of the tree line through this brush, these thorns, you see the small, willowy figure of what appears to be a child, tripping over a loose rock and crashing down hard into the path ahead of your horses. Make me a handle animal check, please, Ogvar.
That will be a 15.
15. Okay, yeah. The horses, this quite sprightly dun, it rears up in the harness, and the rest of the horses screech too. I mean, you've been taking them at a fairly brisk walk, if not a slow trot. They screech to a halt. This dun at the front rears up, just bounces up onto its back legs in shock, obviously, if they've been spooked by this girl, what appears to be a girl, falling into the path in front of them. But you're able to keep them under control. They don't deviate from the path, and you're able to bring them safely to a stop.
Okay. Whoa, horses. Whoa. Who's that down there? Are you okay?
You hear a soft sob, and both Kieran and Ogvar, you can see this girl. She is on her knees, hands and knees, in the middle of the road in front of you. She looks dirty, she looks roughed up. You can see cuts along her arms and legs. She's got bare feet, she hasn't got any shoes on, and she looks like she's just run madly through the undergrowth, which she apparently has. When she turns to you, her hair is in absolute disarray. It's a bird's nest. You see these kind of long, dirty tendrils hanging down, and her face is streaked with dirt, with the exception of 2 paths down her cheeks where tears have carved their way through the grime. Snot runs down her nose. It drips off her top lip in this kind of viscous glob, landing on the floor. She has this high flush on her cheeks, but otherwise she looks incredibly ill. She is very pale, very thin. She has bones like a bird. They look like they would snap at the slightest touch. And she just kneels on the floor, panting, gasping, hiccuping and sobbing.
Would Elora and Esther now be aware of this if the carriage has suddenly stopped?
Yeah, I'd imagine that Elora and Esther, you'd have sidled, like both of you would have sidled forward to see what was going on up front. Yeah.
What's going on up here? What's happened?
Oh, just hold it. Kieran, hold these reins. I'll go jump off the seat, bench, and just go round to the front of the horses, sort of just giving him a pat as he walks past them. I don't know. How big is this child?
You would say, making a decent guess, you would say this child is no older than perhaps 8 years of age.
Okay, fair enough.
She's incredibly small. She's incredibly small and fragile looking. She looks incredibly ill and practically emaciated. So you'd say she might be a little older, but just, because of her size, she looks younger. But you would say she's probably, in that region of 8 to 10.
Yeah, so Ogvar will sort of get down on his knees, on his hands and knees, and sort of try and look her in the face to face and, okay, where did you come from?
She gasps and judders, and as she's bent over this kind of curve of her spine, she reaches upwards very weakly with one hand, and it's almost like a kittenish grasp. There's no strength behind it. She just weakly grabs onto your sleeve, and you see as she bends forwards, her ragged clothes. It looks like it was probably once a very fine dress. In the sense of not like a noble's dress, but it was perhaps a very pretty Sunday frock kind of affair. But now it's just kind of dirt encrusted, it's faded, it's ripped, but it hangs off her frame quite loosely. And as she's turned forwards with her spine bent, you can see this very thin fabric. You can see her spine, every single knobble of her spine. And she's gasping for air. She's, help, please, help.
Elora's looking over the top of the front benches and looking at this unfold. She can't see everything that's going on, but she can obviously see that Ogvar is there with a child. She can't exactly see what's going on. Ogvar! Bring them back here.
Okay. Ogvar will sort of scoop her up and say, I can't help you down here. Let's get you on the wagon. Let's see what's going on.
Esther, we've got incoming. There's a child.
You scoop her up, Ogvar, and she is incredibly, incredibly light. She, it's like picking up a sack of air to you. You know that no child should be this light, especially one who is apparently kind of like 8 years old. She weighs nothing. And as you scoop her up, she tenses and then just kind of slumps into your grip. You get kind of a bit of snot and tear wiped on your jerkin as she just kind of collapses against your chest. But you take her round to the back of the wagon, and Esther next to you, Elora, she's like, oh dear, this is no real place for a child, I suppose. Have we got a blanket?
Elora's going to dive.
Do you have a blanket?
Yeah,
spare?
I've got that covered. Elora's going to dive into her, where she's got her backpack and stuff. She's going to pull out the bedroll, and she's got a blanket, and she's going to pull those out, wrap the blanket round, and sit the child down on the soft bedroll in the back of the wagon. Who are you? What's your name? Where did you come from? Why are you in this mess? Whatever has happened?
The girl looks almost startled to see so many people. She almost shies back into your grasp, Ogvar, as you kind of almost overwhelm her with questions, Elora. She stutters out. She's very, very quiet, but she stutters out. Ivona, please, you've got to help my Brady, my brother, please.
What was her name again? Sorry.
Ivona. Yeah.
And her brother is Brady.
Yeah.
Ogvar will say, okay, Ivona, where is your brother? Where did you last see him?
We were taken. Mummy and Daddy, we live in Stagwick.
Oh yes, Stagwick, yes. I think we're on our way there ourselves.
Really? Will you help us, please? Please help us.
Where were you running from? came out of the bushes like a ferret. Why were you going so quickly?
At that, she gives you a very weak, watery smile. This kind of just a little, it's just a little something, a little spark of joy at being called a little ferret. We were in the forest after lunch, and it came out of nowhere. And next thing I know, we woke up and we were in a. I don't know where we were. It was horrible, and it was dark, and it smelt horrible, like fish.
Ivona, where is your brother?
I don't know.
Where did you leave Brady?
She bursts into tears.
Was he in the woods with you?
She almost shies away from you, Elora. And she kind of scoots back towards Ogvar. She shies away from you, and she begins to hiccup.
Elora's going to mouth to Ogvar. Find out where Brady was. Is he in the woods nearby? We need to find him.
Oh, okay. You're quite safe here now. We've got a lot of people here, and I think we're all interested in making sure you're okay. This is Elora, and this is Esther, and they're all very nice people. They might look a bit odd, but we all look a bit odd when we first meet new people. But you're all right with them. But if you're safe here with us, so why don't you tell us where did you last see Brady? Where was he? Was he in the woods with you?
No, it was horrible. It smelt like fish. There were these weird people, but I don't think they were people. They were like monsters. And I managed to. Brady was hurt. They hurt him, but I managed to slip out. I'm really skinny, and I slipped through the bars. I just ran, and it was out of it. She points towards the forest. I just ran. I left him there. I ran.
It's okay. Don't worry. You found someone, and you're telling us what's happened. So that's the first step to helping out.
Ivona, if we're to help Brady, we need to know where he is. We'll go and find him. You're safe here with us, but we need to go and find him.
I don't know. He was over there. She's pointing furiously towards the woods from where she's just came. And you just make me a what's it called? The sense motive check.
Sense
Elora.
motive. Right. That'd be a 10 all in.
Yeah, 10 all in. She really doesn't know where she's come from. You can see she is visibly upset that you keep on questioning her. All she knows is that she's run from wherever this is, and she's just run through.
Elora is going to first of all hand her a water skin and say, "Okay, Ivona, just have a drink. You look like you need one. You just sit there and don't worry about anything. You're safe with us. We'll go and find your brother." At which point she's going to motion to Ogvar, and she's going to shake her pouch and get Rowan out, and she's going to say to Rowan, "I want you to go and find, we're looking for a child. Go and scout for a child." And she's going to send him out. She's going to show him the rough direction and send him in the rough direction that Ivona came out of the woods in. She doesn't know what kind of area, but she's just sending him out to scout. And she's going to motion to Ogvar as well and point to Murdoch on his shoulder.
Okay, quite right. Well, Murdoch, you know what to do. Off you go.
Murdoch alights with a child. Is he as he takes wing, and him and Rowan almost kind of race and play tag through the air as they flap off in the general direction of where Ivona's come from. Kieran, what are you doing at this point?
Kieran's sat at the front, holding the reins. I'll go through with him, thinking to himself, please don't go. Please don't go. So Kieran is going to turn around and say, what's going on? Better put the brake on. Where's the brake? Oh dear. Got the brake. And he pulls the brake for the cart and wraps the reins around the brake in a nice little knot, and then he turns round to see what the hell's going on. And he,
Are you chocking up the horses as well? You chock. Okay,
well, I am not letting. Okay. I don't want to be running after anything. So the brake's on. The reins are tied up, and I'm going to chock up the horses just in case, because I do not want to be running after horses.
Elora's going to jump down. She's going to leave Esther and Ogvar with Ivona, and she's going to jump down off the wagon and go very quickly round the side to meet up with Kieran. Kieran, the little girl's name is Ivona. Apparently, something's happened. They got attacked by something, and she's got a brother. Apparently, his name's Brady, and she had to leave him behind. She mentioned something about some bars and something about they were hurting him. And she ran away. She got away. So somewhere out there's a child that needs help. But that's all we know. We've sent Rowan and Murdoch out to see if they can scout anything out.
That's absolutely monstrous. Well, we're going to have to help. Just show me, just tell me where they are, and I'll give them a.
Well, that's what we need to establish. Apparently, she's from Stagwick. The parents are in Stagwick, but I can't establish whether the parents were there or whether they were playing in the woods or what. I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, Stagwick can't be that far away. I'm guessing if she's run from there. It depends. I don't know how long she's been running for. I can't seem to get much out of her.
No idea. I can't see how far we are away from Stagwick.
Yeah, I've left Esther and Ogvar with her at the moment.
They're probably the best two to look after.
You are about 2.5-3 days away from the Stagwick.
I was going to say, that's the halfway point, isn't it, between there and Jenrik?
Well, I don't think we need to sort this out now. So.
But do you know how far Stagwick is?
I don't know. Surely it's about 4 or 5 days to Jenrik's, and that was halfway. So that's 2 to 3 days to Stanswick. So we've been doing a day. So it'll be about a day and a half to go.
So she's been running. If she's come from Stagwick, she's been running for some time. So she's left her brother behind a long time ago.
Yeah. Would we roughly know the direction of Stagwick and the direction that this girl's come from?
So Stagwick is the road ahead. She has come from your right.
So, she's not come from the direction of Stanswick. Stanwick's that way. She's come from over that way.
Something doesn't add up. She says she's... Well,
okay, so Ogvar, in the back of the carriage with Esther and Ivona. Esther is doing a very good job at being a grandmother. She is passing this girl like a couple of sweet bits that she's dug up from her bag. It looks a bit like a bit of a jam roly-poly, which Esther's perhaps stored away from the cathedral in Selhoff. She finds a bit of like the end of a jam roly-poly, which she feeds to the girl in little bits, and she's making sure she's getting some water. She's wrapped a blanket around her shoulders. She's dug up one of her, it looks like a shirt, a very pretty baby pink shirt, which she has in her bag, and she just gently wraps it around the girl and, just gives her a bit of coverage, a bit of, some better clothing just for the time being. And she's just generally being a very good grandmother, just running fingers through the hair, pulling it back from her face, and just trying to tidy her up as best as she possibly can. She's still hiccuping and sobbing, although it's a lot less than, when Elora was interrogating her. And she still clutches onto your sleeve, Ogvar.
Okay. So, Ogvar will say that. Well, now you're getting to know us all a little better. When you say you were with your brother, and you got away. How long ago was it that you got away? How long has it been since you've seen Brady?
It wasn't that long. I don't know. I was running for a long time. But it hasn't been night yet.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
It can't be. Will you find him?
We'll give it our best shot. Yes, we'll go out there and we'll see if we can find him. It's very important if you can remember anything. If you can remember anything, even a little tiny detail, if you tell us, it might help out. When you got out of the cage, were you inside in a cage? Were you outside in a cage? Can you remember?
It was inside. It was cold and it smelled horrible, like fish and Farmer McGee's rotting bins.
That sounds terrible. I don't like fish myself, personally.
It was really dark, but I think, and she's like kind of hyperventilating in like little hiccups in between, interspersed between her words, and she's got very, very pretty blue eyes, and they're big and watery blue eyes, and she stares up at you, Ogvar, and you can see the tears welling in them. There was Brady, and I think there were other people, but they didn't move and they didn't say anything. They just, I couldn't really see, but I'm pretty sure there was a man hanging from the ceiling. He kind of grunted when I threw a pebble at him.
Okay, that's probably nothing. You probably don't need to worry too much about that.
It looked like it hurt,
Okay.
though. I mean, I should be worried about that, shouldn't I?
We'll look after him. We'll look after him when we find him. But don't you worry.
Elora's going to wander round to the back of the wagon, and she's just going to rummage around in her pocket and take out the spare square of fabric that she'd ripped up from back in the heist, and she's going to hand that to Elora. She's going to hand that to Esther, and
Right.
just say to Esther, well, she can have a hanky, or you can clean her up with it, or try.
Yes, thank you, dearie. Ogvar, here you go. Just look after our dear little Ivona for a minute, will you? And she grabs her under the arms, plonks her back squarely into your chest, Ogvar.
Yes, okay.
Hops down from the wagon, and she will walk over to you, or she'll grab your arm, Elora, and drag you over to where Cumin stood, and she turns to you and in a very low voice goes, What are we going to do about this? We can't leave a child in danger, and
Well, no,
obviously. I mean, Ogvar's got his hands full.
Well, she seems to have gravitated towards Ogvar. I mean, I'm not great with children. I've got no experience with children. But no, you're right. We can't. I mean, she's going to have to come with us. She's under our protection now. I mean, I don't know where she's come from. I mean, we've sent Rowan and Murdoch out. But I don't know. Do we go forwards? Don't we go forwards? Perhaps we wait until Rowan and Murdoch have come back at least. I think we ought to just stay here for the time being, just briefly. and then the only thing we can do is carry on down to Stagwick. That's where we're headed. Let's see what the companions and my familiar comes back and says. Can I get anything from the empathic link? I'm just going to take a moment and pause to think. Can I get anything back from the empathic link with Rowan at this stage?
Yeah. Okay. So you have. It's a very euphoric feeling you get back. It's quite an excited feeling, followed very, very suddenly by a short, sharp burst of pain, then a feeling like Rowan is sulking, and then within about 20 minutes, you start to feel that you start feeling from Rowan a kind of like a hint of kind of almost like a kind of a bit of curiosity, and then a kind of like a aha gotcha moment.
Okay, so Laura's kind of glazed over thinking about this for a moment. She just stops. She's going to look at Kieran and Esther and just say, I'm getting mixed feelings back. I'm not quite sure what any of this means. Rowan seems pleased about something, but I'm not quite sure what. I think we're going to have to wait for him to come back.
Oh yes, well, we're going to have to stay here anyway, so there's no way we could, if there's a young child, she can't have gone that far. I mean, she's only, look at the size of her. She can't have gone that far. Yeah, but look at the state of her,
Kieran. She's obviously been running for some time. I mean, she's been somewhere where, I don't know, this is all very strange. But we can't leave her on her own, obviously, but she's obviously very worried about her brother. If the companions and familiars come back and there's no news, then we're just going to have to move on towards Stagwick. That's all we can do.
Okay, Ogvar, what are you doing while they're having this discussion?
I think Ogvar will sort of reach into his pocket and pull out his the silver raven statue that Cadeaux gave him, and sort of like show it to a owner and say, this is a little statue here. It's a bit like not my raven, the one who's gone out to look for your brother. And see, can you see him? And you want to hold on to him for a little bit. Something so you can remember the raven. And see, when you see the raven come back and he looks like that, you know we might have some news.
Yeah, she takes the raven from you, and she's very delicately. You see, she takes her pointer finger. She runs it over the beak of the raven and around the eye, just gently circling around the eye and almost petting it in a way. And she's very taken with it. She's, her hiccuping and her sobbing just, starts to peter out as she really begins to kind of fiddle and look at this raven. She, you see her turn it over in her hands, and her hands are, you can see that she's obviously got very childlike, very small hands, very delicate fingers, and her nails, you can see that one of her nails is cracked, and it's kind of encrusted over with blood. But yeah, so she starts fiddling with the raven. So as a group, what are you doing now while you're waiting for Murdoch and Rowan to return?
Well, Kieran would be keeping an eye on the forest. Alert.
Yep.
Just in case anything else happens. He didn't really go down to talk to Ogvar and a little Ivana, because let's face it, he's a big bloke with loads of swords in metal shiny armour, so it's probably not the best thing to comfort a small girl.
Elora's going to go round to the back of the wagon again. She's going to shuffle back through her backpack because something's just jogged her memory. She's going to pull out her spare cloak and she's going to just offer it to Ivona and say, "Look, sweetheart, there's a spare cloak there. just pop this on over the top of your dress and just pull it round yourself. I know you've got a blanket, but have a cloak for yourself. You're going to need one. And she's just going to hand it to her, kind of thing.
Yeah, she does that thing which kind of small children with short attention spans kind of do. She's very focused on this raven. You tuck it round her, and she's focused on this raven as she kind of, attempts to kind of sling it over her shoulders, but you do most of the work. And yeah, she's just settled down. She's very quiet. Okay, so you're all kind of stood around, queuing, keeping an eye on the woods. The rest of you just kind of pottering around, doing things, just kind of wandering, having a bit of a chat amongst yourselves. Ogvar, you hear a familiar cry from the forest. You hear the of Murdoch. And Murdoch returns, seemingly alone. He flies overhead, and you can see Ivona's head snap straight up to look at him. And Murdoch flies in, and he comes to land on your shoulder, Ogvar. He resettles himself, shuffles his feathers slightly, goes, found cave.
Very good, very good. Was it whereabouts?
As the crow flies.
Oh, okay, quite very true, I suppose. So, where's Rowan?
Bastard! And pretty much as he says that, you see, whizzing through the air, a furry brown bat, which makes a diving attempt right for Murdoch. And Elora, you get this sense through your empathic bond again of this aha, gotcha moment, as Rowan attempts to dive bomb Murdoch, and Murdoch very quickly takes off your shoulder, Ogvar, and flutters away with this very indignant caw, and Rowan just goes zooming over your shoulder in a flyby before flittering over to you, Elora.
Rowan! What is going on? I sent you to do a job. Have you found anything?
Mead!
Never mind that. I sent you to do a job.
Rowan very quickly flutters off and goes to sulk somewhere, you'd assume. He feels very sulky.
Elora's just gonna... Damn bat. About as much use as a chocolate teapot.
Esther chimes up as you say that, Elora. Oh, I found this in the library in Selhoff in the church, and Ruth very kindly let me borrow it. This is perfect for you, Elora. And Esther walks over to her bag, and she begins rooting through her bag. You would almost think her bag is a second Orland if it, she's got apparently that much stuff in there. And she pulls out of her bag a small tattered book, which she hands over to you, Elora. And as you take it, you can see on the title, Battling the Bond. How to understand bats.
Oh! That's a little unexpected, but very welcome, thank you. That will give me something to do on our journey. Thanks, Esther. Thank you very much. I'll get to that in a bit, though. I think, obviously, at the moment, we've got something else at hand, but thank you.
Okay, Ogvar.
Yeah, so Ogvar's still around the back of the wagon, with Ivona, and so he was saying, okay, Ivona, is it Ivona, or would you like Ivy?
I don't mind. Whatever you want, I don't
then.
mind.
Well, either way, Ivy, there's probably someone you haven't met here, so I'm gonna tell you. He's a very, very nice man. He's awfully tall and awfully shiny. He's have you ever read a story about knights and shining armour and all that sort?
You see her little face almost light up, and oh yes, lots of stories about princesses and frogs and fairies. Yes, and there's got to be a knight. There's always a knight.
Yes, quite so. I'm going to go around the front now, and there's a man there, and he's sort of a knight, and he's not scary at all. He's quite a nice man, really. So, but we'll go meet him. I'll go and introduce you to him, and now you've seen everyone then. So, at that, Ogvar will sort of walk round with a sort of like, I assume like on his hip or, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
And sort of walk around to introduce to everybody else who's there. Like, so this is our knight, Kewin.
Yeah.
Kewin, this is Ivona or Ivy.
Hello, Elora. Nice to see you. Oh, you've got you look like you've got a few cuts there. Hold on there, and Kieran's gonna place his hand on her head, and he's gonna heal her for a couple of points, just to make her feel a little better.
Yeah. Two points will probably do it.
That's better. All right, Havana. I hear that your brother's missing. Is that true?
She almost, as you heal her, and obviously the little cuts and scrapes patch themselves up, she looks down at her hands in awe, and she's just like, she's completely enthralled by this, and she's just like, you can see her eyes, she's just completely overwhelmed. She's like, it's so amazing. So you ask her,
is your brother missing as well? Is that what I heard?
She looks up at you, and her mouth is kind of dropped open in awe, and she just kind of nods at you. Just this kind of very dumbstruck nod.
Right. Well, I suppose I'll have to do something about that. He might not be a princess, but he might be a prince. At least he's the princess's brother.
She goes very shy and buries her face into the crook of Ogvar's neck and goes very pink. You're really making her day. It's been a very bad day so far, but it's looking a lot better for her.
Oh, bless you, Jim. Don't worry, we'll do all we can. I've got plenty of big swords here to deal with any problems. Don't you worry.
It's fine. It's great.
Okay. Right. Okay, so what are you all doing?
Now Ogvar's in the group, and everyone should. Murdoch's come back to me, and apart from being a little harassed by Rowan, I think they may have found a cave not too far from here.
Laura's just shaking her head, rolling her eyes.
So we may have a potential location. And Ivy here said she's only been running for today, so she hasn't been out overnight yet. So we can assume we're not too far away.
Well, I think we'd better go and check that out. We can't ignore it, can we?
After a night of restful repose, the party picked up where they left off and packed up their gear. Esther endeavoured to construct the cover for the wagon, whilst Elora made an attempt to exercise a little equine handling. However, one steed refused to return, and failing to retrieve the rascal, Ogvar was subsequently offered the challenge instead. Inevitably, the wet weather arrived, and as they continued to travel the trail, their progress was halted by a dishevelled, dirty, and very distressed young girl bursting out of the bushes. Clearly in need of their care, the companions offered her comfort and assistance as they began the search for a concealed cave where her baby brother was understood to be held captive. Murdoch and Rowan were sent out scouting. The Raven returned with useful information, but was in a bad mood as he had definitely had a beakful of Elora's belligerent bat. Hey, you made it this far, so lend us your ears for a moment longer if you will. Firstly, we are most humbled that you are enjoying our yarn, and the crew thank you from the bottom of their hearts for your patronage. Producing this podcast is incredibly hard work, and as such, if you would like to support us, there are a few ways in which you could really make a difference. Sharing links to friends and family helps to spread the word so others like you can find us, and in turn they too can enjoy the show. Equally helpful is leaving a 5-star review on Spotify and any other streaming services, which will help us immensely. Or, if you feel you could go that extra mile and contribute a few coppers to keep our creative juices flowing, you can hop on over to our Buy Me a Coffee page or drop us an email. We would all be immensely grateful for your support in any form. Lastly, we invite you to visit our website, where you will find information on our campaign from backstories to settings. Join our Facebook group or follow us on Twitter. All the links are in our episode bios. Don't forget to smash the subscribe and download buttons so you never miss the next episode. See you all again next week, folks.